Scream.
Hello everybody, welcome back. This is channel of the Eclipse Kid. We praise God on this channel and we talk about movies on this channel. So, today we will be covering the 7th entry in the iconic Scream franchise, titled Scream 7, obviously. Now, before we get into the actual movie, because this movie was fun to watch, I'm still reluctant to say that there's a bad Scream movie, but this is unfortunately the weakest of the franchise by a large margin. So we will get into why that is and some of the strengths I think the movie does have, but a lot of the things that I want to get back to. So we're going to give you a little story. So it's 2023, Scream 6 comes out in March, 1 year after 5, and it's a big hit, everybody loves it, and they're about to fast track 7, probably the release in 2024, 2025. Now, while they're getting everything ready, the Israel-Palestine war broke out in October of that year. And then Melissa Barrera, who was she was the main character in 5 and 6. She made tweets being pro-Palestine, and people didn't like it, so Spyglass fired her. That's the studio that has the rights to the Scream movies. They fired her, and because of that, they already had a new director, Christopher Landon, because Radio Silence wanted to work on another thing, while Spyglass wanted to rush them doing Scream 7. But Christopher Landon, the director they did have for the movie, quit because of all the death threats he got. And then Jenna Ortega also left in support of Melissa Barrera. So the whole thing just fell through, pretty much. And they had to scramble to get something back. And what did they do? They bring back Neve Campbell, who had been absent from the previous movie because of paying disputes. They brought on Kevin Williamson, creator of the franchise, to co-write and direct the movie for the first time. And biggest of all, they bring back Matthew Lillard's Stu Macher for Scream 7. We will get into that whole can of worms, but now there's a lot of controversy with this movie even existing. Now, if you want my stance on it, I'm in full support of Melissa Barrera and everybody who walked off of the movie because of that. Completely valid reason. And completely unjust how Spyglass treated her. This is terrible. But I will not let that, hinder the actual filmmaking, because Kevin Williamson and that whole creative team, they didn't do it. It was the studio. So I'm coming into this movie with that perspective. I was still excited going into it. And it just released, and it's getting a lot of negative reviews, but it has the highest opening weekend of the franchise ever, with a $64 million domestic opening and a $97 million worldwide opening. The budget was about $45 million too, so we're definitely getting a Scream 8. We'll get into that at the end of the video, but first, we're going to talk about the movie. We're going to talk about the positives of the film first, and there will be full spoilers in this, complete full spoilers. I'll be revealing the end of who the killers are. I'll be revealing some secrets that are in this movie, Easter eggs, stuff like that. So, yeah, let's get on with it. Alright, so I'm going to start with the positives of this movie. And I will start here with just the opening scene of the film. Now, the opening scene entails this couple going to the Stu Macher house, which in the movie universe was previously owned by the Machers, but then was owned by Amber's family, and Amber was one of the killers in Scream 5. So they sold that house to somebody, and now they turn into like a museum Airbnb. Now the boyfriend's really obsessed with the stuff. The girlfriend's not into it. I thought that part's pretty like realistic, and that's like nice that they added that in. But the opening scene's like really, really solid here, even though it does not connect to the rest of the movie in the slightest. It is a very solid opening. Like there's this animatronic ghost face, and eventually it gets swapped out with a real ghost face, and you get this really gnarly kill. Because we'll get into the kills in a second, but you get this really gnarly kill, the knife going straight into his head, like piercing the back of his eye and stuff. Like, and then like the girl falls from the chandelier onto Ghostface's knife, and then Ghostface just like dumps a bunch of gasoline on her, and the lights are on fire, burns the whole house down. It's an awesome opening. But again, that does not connect to the rest of the film in the slightest. It's literally just a nostalgia play. Like, and a thing for them to put on the posters, like, I'm gonna burn it all down. He doesn't even say that in the movie. I don't know why. But next big positive, Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott is still here. She's still kicking, and she's still awesome. Now, I wish they gave her a bit better material to work with, but she's really good in this. She's still a great final, or she's not the final girl, but she's not really a legacy character. She's like a main character in this. The secondary main character is her daughter Tatum, named after her best friend from the first movie who died. And I think the relationship between them and that dynamic, and Sydney wanting to protect her from her past so bad that it leaves her unprepared if Ghostface were to come back as he does in this movie. I think Isabel May does a good job acting as her too. Like, I like that whole dynamic. I feel like it was the most, probably only layer of character depth in the whole movie, sadly. So, but I think they did a solid job with that. Like, and how their relationship develops throughout the movie. That was good. Now, another positive I'll give to this movie is like the chase sequences and the kills, because the chase sequences are really nice and the kills are really gnarly. Like, more so than most of the franchise anyway, because it's not a very gory franchise. But some of the kills in here are like if you know, you know. I'm probably gonna say something like the guy that gets dragged and his neck gets like impaled on a beer tap through the mouth. It's unrealistic, but it was a really gnarly kill. And then McKenna Grace's character gets like hung up from wires in the theater and gets like slashed and gutted while she's suspended in the air. Like, those are the two like highlight kills for me. Like, very like, again, if you care about the characters more, it'd be better. We'll get into that in the negative section. But I think that was solid. And Kevin Williamson as a director. Now, there's only been There's only been technically three people that have directed Scream movies. Wes Craven, who directed Screams 1 through 4, and I'm just gonna call them Radio Silence because I know they're Matt and Tyler, but I keep forgetting their last names. So I'm just gonna call them Radio Silence. They directed 5 and 6. And now Kevin Williamson he's an iconic writer, but he is not an iconic director. He's only directed one movie ever, like in the 90s. And this is his second movie ever that he's directed. So, fitting that it's Scream, but still. I think he definitely is like the least impressive director of this franchise. But he's cool. Like, I think he does some cool stuff, but also at the same time, he does some really bland stuff at times. I like the atmosphere of the movie too. It's really the small town environment it's similar to Woodsboro, but it's not. That was really solid. And let's see, what else can I say good about this movie? I'm genuinely trying to think of other good things about the movie before I get into the whole negative section. And I thought some of the references were cool. Like, at the beginning in the opening scene, like, the guy's talking to his girlfriend, he's like, Schumacher was seen at a frat party in Ohio in 1997. That's obviously a reference to, in Scream 2, Matthew Lillard did cameo in the movie in the background. He wasn't actually Stu, but people speculated that it was Stu. So, yeah, that was a cool reference. But now let's get into the mixed and negative parts of the movie. Yeah, so these multiple things about to go on kind of connect to one central thing, but I'll start with this. Obviously, I said Stu's back, but he's not actually alive. Like, I guess the movie tries to make you think that, but it's so obvious that he's not, and the character's like, no, so I don't even know why they tried to do that. But, like, he's like this AI recreation of Stu that the killers use to, like, try and trick her and convince Sydney that it's Stu. And it was cool to see Matthew Lillard back as Stu. Like, he goes into the performance very well, but it's like every time he calls, it's like so goofy feeling. It's like he's just in the middle of nowhere yapping about something. You can just tell because I will say this, they brought Scott Foley back, who was Roman Bridger in Scream 3, and I forgot the actress's name, but she played Nancy Loomis in Scream 2. And, like, they come back, it's like AI recreations too, but on a lot shorter periods at the end. And David Arquette Dewey comes back as an AI recreation at the end. They didn't actually use AI, by the way. Like, these are the actual people filming stuff. But, like, it just feels like cheap, nostalgia baity, and, like, unnecessary. Now, there was an interesting commentary that they could have done. Because obviously AI in the film industry is very relevant right now. That would have been a good commentary to do, but they just kind of didn't. And that's the next segue into the next thing. This movie doesn't really have much of a commentary on anything, because the Scream movies, they always have a commentary on something. Like Scream 1, it was slashers. Scream 2, it was sequels. Scream 3, it was trilogy. Scream 4 was remakes. Scream 5 was requels. Scream 6, it was franchises. Now, even though in Scream 6 they're starting to dwindle a little bit, in this one there's just like barely anything. They try and do this thing about like one legacy character carrying the franchise, and again, that could have worked, like the AI thing could have worked, but they just didn't develop this stuff enough at all to like make it the actual commentary of the movie. And they moved less into the film commentary direction, more into the soap opera direction, which I don't think is necessarily bad for me, but I know for a lot of people the meta commentary is very important, and it is a very crucial part of the franchise, so it's kind of sad that it's dwindling away, and it's kind of, Scream is kind of becoming what Scream was mocking, you know? And now it's kind of segueing us into the fully negative section. Number one, I know I said Kevin Williamson was a fine director, but sometimes it shows that this guy was a TV director. Because he was a TV guy. Sometimes it feels like a TV, made for TV thing. Like, and the writing in this is just like, and this is really surprising because Kevin Williamson, or he apparently co-wrote the script. I don't know if he actually wrote the original draft, but if there was an original draft, but like, the writing in this is just like so, like, the logic is just not logicking in this movie sometimes. Because in every Scream movie, there's this intricate system of how the killers are getting around where they are. But in this one, it just, like, doesn't make sense. And another thing that's really weak, like, the pacing's really strange, and the writing's really weak in, like, every other area. Because Gail and Chad and Mindy from the last two movies, and then Gail from the whole franchise, they come back, and they feel, like, completely useless. They disappear for the whole last part of the movie when they have no real reason to disappear. And then some logical choices were just, like, not it. Like, Sydney, instead of running back for 2 minutes and getting car keys, she decides to run to the town, slowing herself down. But, like, it's like, Gail in this movie, I like Gail in the movie, but she just feels kind of useless. So is Chad and Mindy. Again, if they gave them more to do, it would have been better. And all the other side characters, you barely get to even know their names before they die. So, even though the kills are, like, cool, they don't, like, you don't feel even remotely sorry for them because you don't, like, know them. And that's, like, a serious issue. It's like you don't know the characters at all. Like, it's just generally, this movie has pretty weak writing compared to, even though Scream 3 had pretty weak writing, it had, like, a good reason. Because it was rewritten so many times during filming and stuff. And that movie still turned out alright. But this one, like, the writing just generally feels a lot weaker. Like, it doesn't have a foundation. It's just, like, pulling out all the nostalgia tracks it can to stand on its own 2 feet. Like, it barely has its own identity, you know? It just feels cookie cutter. And it's completely watchable when you just think about it. It's like, here's where I get to the worst part of the movie here. Okay, so the kill reveal in this movie and the motives are just really bad. So basically, Tatum gets kidnapped after a very cool scene in the coffee shop of her trying to shoot Ghostface through the walls. Which, again, that was a very intense and great scene. But she gets kidnapped and brought to their house. And, I completely forgot to mention this. I'm sorry. Sydney's husband, he was supposed to be the guy from Scream 3, but they didn't want to pay him enough. So they had to get, like, another guy to play, like, a different character who's her husband. And he was actually, like, he doesn't have, like, again, much depth at all, but he was just likable. And then he gets, like, stabbed a bunch near the middle of the movie, and then he's somehow still alive towards the end for them to just, like, kidnap. But Sydney gets back to the house, and the killers are a psych ward employee who we saw for literally one scene of the movie, and Jessica, who is Sydney's neighbor. And the psych ward guy's motive is, like, he works with AI and stuff, and that's how he's able to trick them. Also, on Tatum's boyfriend's computer, he just had, like, the Stu AI, like, overlay thing on his computer without any explanation, because there's no explanation of that, because he just dies. That's what I'm saying about, like, the logic in this movie. So stupid. Like, and it just, like, doesn't, like, connect. There's, like, a bunch of things don't connect. Like, a bunch of the themes, they feel so disconnected from each other, you know? Yeah, but Psych Ward guy's motive is he's just crazy, I guess. I don't know. And then Jessica's motive is, get ready for this, like, she had an abusive husband, and she read Sydney's book that she wrote in Scream 4, and she read that how Sydney killed all the Ghostface that tried to kill her, and she took that and said, I'm gonna kill my husband. Like, and then when Sydney, like, started to not, like, kill Ghostface anymore and just, like, kind of trying to live her own life, she got mad or something, because she's supposed to be in the spotlight, and she's supposed to help her get through her emotions by still being Sydney, but like, it's so dumb. It barely makes sense. Like, it's unintelligible. It doesn't connect to, like, anything. Again, it could connect to, like, the legacy, the singular character of a franchise thing, but they don't even, like, fully go into that, so it's just so stupid. Yeah, but the scene where they, like, fight her and kill her was pretty cool. Like, they shoot, like, Tatum and Sydney shoot her face so many times that it falls off. Like, I think that Sydney and Tatum, they have, like, a good wrap-up arc thing going on. But, like, that's pretty much all I have to say about the movie. It's, like, again, it's a completely passable film and fun to watch, but it's just that. There's not much more depth or commentary on anything. There's barely any character depth. The writing is weak and basic, and the only thing it has going for it is Sydney, her daughter, some cool sequences, and nostalgia of, like, Stu and stuff. And you don't even feel the excitement of Stu being there because it's handled in such a weird way. So, overall, this movie is really, it's fun and passable, but just that. Literally nothing else. And easily the weakest of the franchise. Here's my ranking. Scream 4 is at the top. Cry about it. But let's talk about, real quick, they are probably gonna make Scream 8 now. But where could the franchise go from here? I truly don't know. Because they're gonna make the next one, and people are saying they could still do the Stu Alive thing, but I don't know how you can do that now, because you had the Stu A High thing. Because that'd be so weird to just, like, he is actually alive. So, yeah, it'd be like, I don't know. I don't know where they go with Scream 8. I would say go back to the previous story, but you really can't do that anymore. So, I guess, I don't really know. I hope that they cook up something good. But anyway, that is it for this video. Hope you enjoy. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Jesus died on the cross for you. He raised again 3 days later for your sins. And that's it. Bye, 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 bye.